happen. It is how we learn from these tragedies that define us as people and as a species. I'm going to talk to you today about the tragedy of Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad was a major battle in World War II on the city of modern-day Volgograd in southern Russia. The Battle of Stalingrad was probably the bloodiest battle in human history in terms of military casualties, with over 1.8 million soldiers either being killed or wounded in combat. I have been an ardent student of World War II most of my life, constantly studying, reading books, looking up various politics and battles throughout the war. In my opinion, this war is extremely important as it shows just how deadly and horrible we can be to each other, and that in the end we have to learn to be nicer and more cooperative with one another. The battle was long and full of details, so I'm going to give you guys a crash course version because it was like a good 6 months long. The objectives for the Germans were to take this major city because it was a crossroads into southern Russia, full of natural resources and several Russian armies. The objectives for the Soviets were to defend their homeland and defeat the Germans in a decisive battle because of how the Germans have been constantly rampaging through the country and killing civilians and enslaving their people. The initial bombardment of Stalingrad by the Germans was very devastating. According to Peter Chin in his article, Battle of Stalingrad, published in 2004, he recorded a total of 40,000 civilian casualties, which is over 13 times more than the civilians killed in 9/11. The bombardment destroyed over 80% of the buildings in Stalingrad and completely annihilated the army that was in there. The Axis pushed heavily with a major infantry attack into the city with Romanian, Hungarian, and Italian forces on the wings. The Germans fought into the heart of the city because they were the most experienced and the best equipped. However, the Soviets responded in great force as they let the Germans into the city, and after several months of harsh fighting, as in Carsten Gutt's 2011 article in History Magazine, he points at an anonymous German soldier who just described the fighting as a rat war, as the soldiers were usually fighting within meters of each other due to the Soviets not wanting to get hit by German artillery and airplanes. Eventually, the Germans stalled at Stalingrad as they slowly ran out of fuel and ammunition. The Soviets then encircled them and drove around to Rostov, causing the Germans to be without their supply train and slowly starving to death in the city. In the end, the Romanian, Italian, and Hungarian allies were completely annihilated, and the German Sixth Army was trapped in the city. In John Ericsson's 1975 wrote the Stalingrad book, he quotes Goering, the Nazi second-in-command and head of the Luftwaffe, as telling Hitler that he could easily supply the German Sixth Army in the city with his air force. However, this proved to be a gross underestimate, as approximately only 100 tons of supplies of the 700 needed were given to the German Sixth Army throughout this siege. After this failed airlift, the Soviets closed in and tightened the siege, and this caused great German losses, mostly from starvation and frostbite, but also from deaths inflicted by the Soviet Union. On February 2nd, 1943, the German Field Marshal Friedrich Paulus decided to surrender, even though Hitler specifically told him not to. In John Ericsson's 1983 book, The Road to Berlin, he quotes Hitler's final orders to the Sixth Army, which were to hold the city to the last man, never retreat, never surrender, basically sacrifice yourself for the Reich. However, 90,000 German prisoners were taken, and the Soviet treatment of these prisoners was harsh, to say the least. Of the 91,000 German prisoners, approximately only 5,000 ever returned to East or West Germany. And the annihilation of the German Sixth Army and its allies destroyed the illusion of German invincibility in World War II. According to Frederick Claremont in his 2003 Stalingrad, Hitler's nemesis, he states Stalingrad broke the momentum of the German offensive and shattered the worldwide illusion of German invincibility. After this battle, Germany never won a decisive conflict. This battle was truly a disaster for both sides, as the Soviet Union lost over 1 million people in an effort to stop the Nazi invasion and achieve freedom for their people. It shows the great cost of warfare, as hundreds of thousands to millions of people can die. And World War II was a perfect example of that, as so many people died just to end the terror of Nazism and eventually the end of fascism. This battle marked the end of the bloodiest war in human history. The likes of hope I wish will never be repeated.